Have you ever wondered how to make these fun flowers that look a little bit like buds? This is the tassel stitch. You can have a cut top or a looped top, and today I'll show you how to make it. So we start with our thread, and we want to just have this nice and loose, and we'll take the two ends, put them together, and then we'll take the two ends in the folded end, fold it in half, and we keep folding this thread in half until we have about ½ inch. So that's probably a little more than I want. We'll fold it one more time. Actually, this is good. Till we have about an inch or so. That might be a little more, but that's okay. We can always cut it down. Next, we're going to take our thread and lay it just on top of our fabric where we want that tassel to go. Now I have another needle threaded with a knot at the end, and I'm going to just gingerly hold my tassel in place here, and we'll come up at the base of our tassel, kind of in the middle of our thread glob there. Tug so we feel that knot nice and flush, and now I'm going to make a little stitch that goes around my thread. Just gently tug so that's held in place. Looks a little bit like a bow. Now we're going to take these two thread ends, we're just going to fold them up towards each other like this, pinch them together, hold them in place with our fingers, and we're going to make a short stitch where we want the top of this kind of like bulb to start. So we'll come up on one side here. Let me smush this in a little more. Come up on one side of our tassel, and we just go across to the other side, making a nice straight stitch to secure all of that in place. Now I like to do a few more stitches down at the bottom here to make sure this is nicely secured, so I'll just come up again on the outer edge of my tassel, go down into some of these threads on the inside here. And I usually do a couple on each side just to ensure this is really well secured underneath before we go stitching over and cutting things away. So you can see I'm doing a few as I go around the bottom of my tassel here, and these are just short little straight stitches that come up from the outside of the thread and get stabbed into my tassel there. There we go. All right, that looks pretty well secured. Now we're just going to cover up that base. So kind of like that first stitch we did there, we come up on one side of our tassel and we go across to the other side, right on the outside of that thread there, and gently tug that down. Then we'll repeat. Come up on one side again, go across to the other side. And these are just satin stitches. We want them real close together so they cover up all of the base of this tassel here. And if you have any gaps or anything, we can just go back and add another stitch in there. That's okay. I had a little gap right there. So I'll just go back and add another stitch. See, can't even tell. And keep going on our merry way, covering up the base of our tassel. And when you get to the bottom here, sometimes the stitches don't really like to stay up around the bottom, so you just have to do a few overlapping ones to get them to all stick. And of course, as I say that this time, it works. I don't have to do that, but usually I do. So there we go. There's our tassel stitch. So I'm going to knot my thread off on the back real quick here. Just making a slip knot, getting that nice and tight. I'll cut this thread away. Goodbye thread. And now I could leave my tassel with these fun loopy bits here, or I could trim it down. So you could just cut your loops open, like so if you want. Find all those loops and give it a little cut here. There we go. Kind of poof them out some, or we can give it more shape like this. So I would just kind of take my tassel here and start to cut. So however you want your tassel to look, just kind of cut it around, doing a little bit of like a dome, I guess you could say here. And we'll just pull out all these extra thread bits. And there we go. There's our fun fluffy tassel stitch.